Maria and Rannva, it was a pleasure having you here. We are very excited with your Nixie project, and I hope that maybe next year, I'm sure that one of the speakers that is here today will nominate you, so you can come and share with us everything that you are doing there, and with no internet problems. By the way, the connection was perfect, and we, loud and clear, 100%, everything was perfect. Thank you so much. So I think you will stay there now for the Q&A session. So let's see how this goes. Questions for these ladies and gentlemen, please.
Hello. Yes, this is a question for Rannva Maria, so thank you for your talk. It sounds like you have quite a diverse international team with people from all different countries. So I wanted to ask, how, in terms of planning, how do you align the team, get the equipment common and the training and the protocols? How do you get that sort of working together and aligned?
Well, that's due to the expertise of our team members. It's been, as mentioned, 2.5 years in the make. We are not great explorers. We're not scientists. We have put the project together, but we have been fortunate in the sense that we have some pretty epic people on the team. So we have Natalie Gibb, for example, from Under the Jungle. She is our dive team lead and managing all of that. David Mayer is the lead on the mapping section of it. He's the guy who made the Taj Mahal map in the Yucatan. We won't be delivering a map of that kind of detail. He would have to be here for at least a year if he's going to give that kind of detail, but it's the beginning of it. For the equipment as well, like Robin, we couldn't have done this without Robin. Like, we would have been completely clueless on how to get all of this equipment. Yeah. Thankfully, he's already been out here exploring for years, so it's been vital for us having a person on the ground.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like, you can't be on 50 different types of equipment out here. So a year before start, we flew most of the team to Yucatan to train with the expedition leader. Both the mapping team were flown out from Indonesia to work together with David Mayer and be trained by him, as well as those who were not already diving. The unit we're diving on the project was flown into Yucatan to train on that unit in the caves and the DPVs that we are using here, because we're all trained differently, and we wanted to make sure that the way we communicate in the cave, the way we move through the cave, is completely streamlined. So we had to gather the team in person or physically before flying them out here.
Yeah. And the nearest chamber is pretty far away.
Yeah.
Mm.
First of all, I want to say I'm very jealous. I miss living in Indonesia again, and I know how curious the Indonesians are. Are you doing your broadcasts or your school broadcasts into the Indonesian schools as well, or is it just questions or seminars to all schools?
So Exploring by the Seas has a network to North American schools. They're also doing something called Darwin 200. That has been something that we tried getting set up, but we ran out of time, unfortunately, to get it set up for children. However, we are working on getting some live feeds done for the Indonesian universities, and that's been specifically requested by the scientists on the team. Like, for example, Dr. Eko would love to live stream from the field. So that's something we're working on, I think, tomorrow or the day after, to see if he can do a live stream for his university classes as well.
It's a question for all of you, but taking turns. There's a lot of focus on the technology about what's involved, and then the science that's involved, and you want to share these ideas. How do you share the lessons around team protocols and what works in a team, so that other people don't have to make the same mistakes that you do as part of that sort of development process?
Well, what I'm doing, what I just presented on, is completely solo. So, but it's a choice I've made for safety because of the conditions in the cave. And so I do spend a lot of time having to defend that choice to not take someone in the cave with me. And it's an important point, I think. I don't want to lure anyone to dive in the Kitchissippi-Ottawa River cave system. It's hard, it's dangerous, it's difficult.
How do you share with yourself? I think the biggest way we try, and I think it's a great question, difficult to do, but we try to do it through training protocols and SOPs that we publish broadly. I think we'd be better off to organize more sophisticated and elaborate project reports that called out specific areas. There's only so many hours in the day, so sometimes that does get pretty difficult. But I think if we could share more broadly as a community, we would really all benefit greatly. And as long as I have the microphone, I want to say hi to Rannva and Maria. Congratulations to you both. I'm very proud of you, and say hi to the team for me.
Will do.
Will do. Thank you. From our side, it is leaning on others' shoulders, reaching out to people who have been a lot in the field. So Jill Heinerth was helping us with the science protocols and asking critical questions. We also have been very, very, what do you call it? Helped out. Sorry, I'm Danish, so my English goes all over the place. But Bjørelven, Expedition Bjørelven up in northern Sweden, they have some extreme exploration going on there, and that was useful for us in the sense that we are so isolated, and so are they. So we have been talking with them a lot about their protocols. But generally, we have a team of explorers that has many different protocols, and putting them together and making the one that was fitting this area has probably been the best option we had.
Yeah.
But you're right, Jarrod. We should definitely all share much more. It should be open. That would make it safer for everybody.
Question for Rannva and Maria. You briefly mentioned your sponsors. I was just wondering what do sponsors on an expedition like this typically expect in return for all the resources they put into it?
That's a really good question. It sometimes depends on the sponsors, but usually it's like this, that we come here, we do presentations, and we mention the support of the sponsor, but also that we hand over some beautiful imagery, whatever we have, like articles and whatnot. Plus, for a sponsor, like, of course, I'm a bit biased in the sense that I already work for Fourth Element. So for Fourth Element, coming back with some reports on the equipment, on what's been working and what has not been working, that's been really good. But mainly for Fourth Element's point of view, it's always been, we really want to get some good imagery that we can use in the marketing, both for the product, but also for inspiring what's going on out there in the world, and to enhance diving with a purpose.
And adding to that, the major sponsors we have on this project are supportive of the science that we're doing and the whole community engagement. It is a fact that we need to work together and bring hope out to the world. We see so many bad news and everything is kind of crumbling. So putting together an expedition that works to build bridges and make hope and enable areas and protect them as well at the same time, that has been quite a taker for for the sponsors.
Yeah, in what you're doing in expeditions, there's certainly a risk analysis process you go through, severity versus likelihood, and you work with your teams individually and you accept those things with yourself. I guess my question is, how do you square it away with your family, your friends, your spouse, your partner, or even your kids?
Yeah, that's difficult. My husband's not a diver, and so he spends a lot of time waiting for me. I give him full transparency about what I'm doing, and anyone that's dived with me knows that the moment I'm out of the water, I'm looking for a way to communicate with him, to let him know that it's okay. But it's a journey. It is an absolute journey, and there's been times in our marriage that it becomes acute, you know? Why do you have to keep doing this? But in the end, it's the mutual respect. You can't put a butterfly in a jar, and my husband recognizes that, you know, what I do is really what makes me who he fell in love with. So communication's really important.
think it is a good question, actually. And I think for most of us, we've been doing it a long time. And so all those significant others and friends and family, you know, that's kind of baked into the cake. And I know with my parents, when I started doing very long, deep dives, my mom never wanted to hear anything about it. So my dad would ask a lot of questions. I started diving with him. And the second I would start answering them, my mom would close her ears. And then some years later, they actually both had a conversation and said that they could see how much it enriched my life and how special it was to me. And then I used that opportunity to speak to other important people in my life and to just make sure they knew that. And if things didn't go well, that I was doing what I really loved to do and couldn't imagine anything else. The flip side to that is that I have also advised other people I've seen who in my view, were doing reckless dives. And I asked them to have that conversation with their family, first with themselves, to decide, how do I really feel about this? I have a family, and am I doing what I can to safeguard myself? And then to have a conversation with their family, and then lacking that, to make sure you have a good life insurance policy. And that's part joke and part genuine, you know, because I think that is important.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jarrod. Thank you, Maria and Rannva. One more thing I have to ask you before you go away and go to your incredible meeting. Hold on I believe you have an iPad over there or a phone or something like that, and take the selfie because we cannot be there to do this. It's a tradition on the diving. Yeah, please go on. That will be registered on this Q&A session and all the videos that we'll be posting. So, no, it's you take a selfie. It's you, okay?
Like this?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Is that what you want?
No, yeah.